Good evening, everyone. Welcome
Hi.
to Moffin on Money. Here tonight with obviously, uniquely, especially sweet,
Eccentric.
kind, generous, warm, thoughtful, gracious E-Train. Good to see all y'all tonight. Hope you're doing
Hi.
well. Hey, Brentwood. Good to see you. Sandy, appreciate y'all joining us tonight. Excuse me. I feel like my voice is changing. Maybe I'm going past puberty or something.
Hang on. You got me too.
I know there's something in the air.
Maybe there's lack of air. I'm just not sure which one it is. Sorry.
Well, hope everybody has had a good Saturday so far. It's been pretty here. Still fairly cool after the remnants of the hurricane has passed through,
Hey, Melissa.
lowering the temps. Hey, Melissa, how you doing?
We're having an issue.
We, as in E-Train.
Me and the dogs. This is mine. You can't have this. You will never be able to have this. My children gave this to me. It's not yours. No. Mine.
All right, we're going to start a betting pool on how long before the dogs claim it.
That is sacred to me. No way. Not going to happen.
But Chuck goes, am I not sacred to you?
Like they can't have this. I mean, there are some things, can you even see that? That are sacred to me. No. No doggies. No. Get over it.
And good evening to Sky Ricky. Good to see you
Hey,
here
Sky
tonight.
Ricky. I know, right? Sandy, less than 5 minutes. There are some things, there aren't many, but there are like 3 things the dogs can't have in the entire house. They don't understand. They don't get it. They
Especially
just,
Chunk.
Get your gator.
Chunk really has a problem with private property. He just is not a respecter.
His attitude is unadjusted from this morning. He needs another attitude adjustment.
Yeah, we had to have an attitude adjustment the other day. I thought he'd been pretty good since then.
Okay. I will throw your gator, but
he is a sweet little dude. Of course, everybody here knows Chunk. Crazy Cat Queen driving from Jacksonville to Tallahassee, so listening only. Well, thank you.
Hey, Crazy Cat Queen.
Appreciate you listening in. Hope you have a safe drive. I hope the damage from the hurricane is not too bad and been cleaned up. I know
we were thinking
that's
about
a mess
you
down there. So be thinking of you and keep us updated on your drive, if you will. There's Tulu making her appearance. She wants to be a
she's
star.
doing. No, you know what she's doing. She's trying to get the toy, but I said no.
She wants a toy that Chunk can't have.
That she can't have either. No one can have it. It's not a thing. Hop down. I do want to give. I'm going to play some props.
Up to date on my YouTube-isms. The good GTSY. Good to see you. Figured that out.
You didn't know that?
It's only taken me 6 months, but I'm getting there.
You could have asked.
Carrie Berry's mom. Good to see you.
Hi.
Not sure how long I'll be here babysitting 2 other Irish setters. I have triple trouble.
Yes, you do. But you know what? They're so good. Okay. Look at it's coming, Melissa. I think Clay sent you an email about this. They should be in the next couple days, and then it will be sent straight to you.
The well-known gator.
And I do want to give Clay some props because he knows that I have oh gosh, Crazy Cat Queen is going to correct me. Dyshydrotic eczema. So this is healing hands. I don't know if you can see that. And My feet are way worse than my hands. And so Clay knows I can't kind of get around all that well right now. It's just lots of tiny little blisters on the bottom of your feet. And they end up being bigger blisters because they kind of conglomerate together. So Clay came up here because I had to, this is my bedroom, and made up my bed before I came up here. Thank you.
You're welcome.
That was very sweet.
And the only thing I don't have to worry about is that it's kind of hidden behind Ellen, so you can't see how bad of a job I did.
You didn't do terrible. I mean,
I can
there's a
tuck
big
corners,
bump in the middle, but no one can
but
see
I'm
the bump because the microphone's right here.
yeah, I'm not real good with all the pillows and everything she does.
It's all right. I came up here and I was like, oh my gosh, he made up my bed for me. That was so sweet. I do appreciate it. It did not go unnoticed.
You're welcome. Got a interesting night tonight, or a full night tonight. Hope it's interesting. We'll have some general comments about the market, as we usually do. And then a couple of weeks ago, we had a request for some information on how to help yourself, particularly with personal debt. So we'll talk about that, give some general guidelines, some information, maybe help make decisions. And then finally, we'll end up talking about the joys and wonders of inflation. So what's going on that front?
Hang on. Junk. And our usual apology to Melissa. Melissa, the video has been shot. It is up to me to edit it at this point on beginning investing. It's on me. It was done, what, yesterday?
A couple days ago.
It's all on me. Now. Yesterday. So that will be up in the next day or two. I promise. Another thing.
That is, unless she rejects it again. Tells me I have to reshoot it.
Clay, quick question.
Quick answer.
It wasn't ouch about you. It was ouch about Tallulah scraping my feet. What is the only number in letters that is alphabetically correct? Like the letters are in alphabetical order.
Well, can you give me a hint? Is it like from 1 to infinity?
1 to 100.
Okay.
He's going to look it up.
I would say it's 40.
You knew it. 40 is correct. He's such a jackass sometimes. He already knew
about this. Let me make sure for that.
I asked him earlier, and I'm pretty sure he looked it up.
Wouldn't do it.
Quaddy, hey girl. Do you wear gloves every time you touch any kind of chemical dish soap? Quaddy, I was a hairstylist for over 14 years. I also used to detail cars and boats and clean houses. I have been in every kind of chemical known to man since I was 13. And at 47 years old, I guess it caught up with me about 3 years ago. I really started actually getting eczema, and it is not fun. It is torture. And so if I do recommend, if any of you are constantly in contact with chemicals, wear gloves. I never did that. I was an idiot. I am proof of why you shouldn't do that. I'm like the Berenstain Bears Papa that does everything wrong to teach his kids what to do right. Don't do it. Wear gloves. I used to do like cars and boats barefoot with bleach and all the chemicals. It's not. Just don't. It is not worth it. Trust me, it's not worth it.
And this bout she's undergoing now has really been the worst. I mean, before she's had a few bumps or something that lasts a week and then clears up. This has been going on for several weeks, and it's dozens of blisters, bleeding, cracked skin, that kind of thing. If you've never had it, do what you can to avoid it if possible. Hopefully, it's just a thing with some of the menopause or whatever making it worse. I don't know.
I think it's just the years and years and years of chemicals that I didn't care. It just, I would stand in them. I would work with them. I did never wore gloves. I never did the things. Even when I did hair, I rarely wore gloves. And that is a huge, huge mistake.
Yeah. Could be. I just hope it gets better soon. I really do. Yeah, I know
and
it's painful.
this is something that if any of you know T-Rox, she recommended this. If any of you have eczema, and I've only used it for like an hour or two, but so far it's really kind of softening up some of the places that were cracking, which is very, very helpful. So I recommend it. It is, oh God, now I can't read it. Got to get my glasses. Sorry. Mason Apothecary Healing Super Salve. It's got, I'm going to mess this up, calendula, sea buckthorn, and honey. And some little bit of lavender.
Well, we'll give it a try and see how it works. An hour is probably not a fair test, but we will keep you updated. We'll give you an update Tuesday, and then next Saturday have a better idea of how well it worked. Fair enough?
Okay, this is crack. Oh, you're fine. Thank you. I actually blew dry my bangs. I usually don't, but it's been pretty cool here this week after the hurricane. No, I don't blow dry. Clay, actually, I get mad at him when his hair looks like this because I'd rather him like run his fingers through it. I do cut it, but no, I wish it was a little more fluffy right now, but it's not.
She does cut it, but I'll wash and dry it.
If he would just like do this a little bit right now, it would look a whole, yeah, you just like this. A hairstylist has like, I swear we end up with magical fingers. I don't know why that happens.
Is that better? I'm thinking of
No.
going back to a high and tight. That way I don't have to worry about it.
Give me 1 second.
And then I could just go bald. I know she's not coming down here to fiddle with my hair. Oh, geez. We she is coming down. She is coming in. She is going to do this hair thing.
See, isn't that better?
I got a bump. When I was kind of raised my daughter when she was a little girl from the time she was about 2. And so I didn't know anything about hair, obviously. So I rented a beautician's time, and she taught me how to do French hair braids, hair twists, these kind of things. And so I would do Casey's hair. She'd be 3, 4, 5, 6 or whatever. And every time she'd want me to do her hair, I'd do her hair. And as soon as I finished, she would take off to the bathroom and stare in the mirror, do this, looking all around, and come back and go, "There's a bump." And so I'd have to redo everything.
So. Oh, Sky Ricky sent you money for a cut and blow dry. Thank you, Sky Ricky.
Thank you, Sky Ricky. So,
okay,
you think I ought to go with the high and tight?
No. Okay, Quaddy, Yes, I did. And oh God, the gator is going to drive me nuts. Are you sure you want one of these, Melissa? I mean, but yes, they said that I have dyshydrotic eczema, and they don't exactly know why it exists, but they're pretty sure it's because of different chemicals that I've used in my hair doing hair and during my lifetime. So, yeah. But Clay, your hair looks much better now. I'm just saying.
Well, if you're happy, I'm happy.
Mhm.
Um. Oh, I was going to say also, second thing is, we have the different, and thank you again, Sky Ricky. That's really very sweet. I do need a good haircut and blow and dry.
Okay.
And you can ask Ellen, I'm a lousy
Okay.
tipper.
No, he's not.
That's really very sweet of you. Oh, so with the startup of the memberships, the Like membership, one thing is to hold recipe nights. And so we are looking into that, figuring out what equipment we need, and we will be starting that up shortly.
When he says equipment, he is talking about, he is speaking of like microphones, not actually lousy tip for Ellen cut his ear. I get free room and board, so I really can't complain that much. I'll take it.
Well, we've also got to do something with camera or cameras.
Well, I think
Got to
we
figure
have.
out.
Oh, I got to get that one camera back to Glenn's daughter. Remind me to do
all
that.
sorts of things going on. So we won't cover everything now, but because we're
I
lagging
think
a little
we
bit
can
here.
get a camera going. The problem is the microphone, if you can hear me. And I'm thinking of the chicken meatballs in the. No,
Yeah, we'll do different
we'll figure it out.
recipes or whatever. We'll figure
Yeah.
that out. And but just wanted to let you know that something's coming. So we kind of look forward to that. More technical challenges for Moffat on Money.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
No
We
telling,
probably won't test them
what
until
we're
we
running into there.
actually. We won't test anything until we're actually in the kitchen. Then we're like, oh shit, nothing works. Okay, let's figure it out.
It'll be an adventure, but we love you guys because you know why? You have patience. And we love that about you. We love that about you guys.
Oh, I do have to say one thing. So, Crazy Cat Queen, assume you're still listening. So Clay wanted to go toe to toe for you today, and I said, "Hang on." On Twitter, Crazy Cat Queen's got it. If it gets out of control, I will unleash you, and you can do your wrath on whoever is giving her crap. I said, but she's got it. Just hang on, sit tight. So,
well, there's just one thing I would ask everybody, that you be courteous
kind.
and not insulting to anybody,
Anyone.
particularly our family, because we want to be a channel one where different opinions are heard, respected, where reasoned discourse is engaged in. Nobody is going to agree with anybody all the time. Like I said, I don't even agree with myself sometimes.
You don't have to be ugly or rude.
Yeah, or insulting, whatever. Just, express your thoughts reasonably, rationally, and sometimes we can agree to disagree. And, I want to keep this a civil, polite, respectful, warm, encouraging group,
Community, family,
community.
whether
Yeah.
it's on Twitter or here or anywhere.
So,
Yeah, and Clay was about to go just like, he's like, Crazy Cat Queen's my family. I'm going to take care of this. And I was like, you just need to calm down. Don't get involved yet. We will if we have to. She's got it. So, Crazy Cat Queen, Clay was ready to go out for blood for you.
well, I just think people need to be courteous.
They do.
You
They
know,
should.
Particularly when you're hiding behind an anonymous nickname or, whatever. Just a pet peeve of mine. So anyway, just spread the quan. Be good people.
Of course. All right. So Quaddy has are you going into your recipe or chats? Whatever you guys want to do, y'all let us know what you want.
Yeah. If y'all have some good recipes that you'd like to share, because, we can do, or at least talk about more than one, or maybe we'll have a theme and then people give different takes. We may do one and then talk about how to, some variations on that. I don't know. So whatever's good for y'all, whatever y'all would like to see, whatever suggestions you have, we would most heartily welcome. Melissa, we definitely want to know what you figure out for kitchen tech.
We do too.
Yeah. Because I'm sitting there thinking, you got one table for prep, you turn around, you've got the stove, maybe. So we may need more than one camera, obviously mobile mics. It's not a hugely complicated deal, but we just need to figure out exactly what coverage is where, camera, how well the camera's autofocus, all that good stuff.
Yeah.
So we haven't done it before. We'll play with it and try to come up with a decent system.
And we'll probably both do a recipe for the night. Is that fair?
Could be. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I've actually got some hellacious recipes I look forward to sharing with you.
Okay.
And I hate it when I say
You always say
I really don't when I'm talking to people. I do hear,
I know.
But not when I'm talking to people. So, okay. Let's start. General market. A lot of hype this past week or two. I mean, market kind of rebounded some. A lot of hype around a stable economy with about 2% GDP growth. But honestly, there's more to the story. There's a lot more to the story. I don't think, now, obviously all I can do is give my opinion and my reasons why I hold that opinion. But I believe there's a brewing liquidity crisis, credit crisis, credit event. They're all kind of interrelated. I've talked previously about zombie companies. These are companies that generate just enough in their operating cash flow to pay their interest expense and operating cost. They can't pay down their debt. And most of these are smaller companies, like around 5 to 1,000 employees. And they're struggling. They're really, some of the Fortune 500 companies, not as much, but the small individuals are struggling. They've been struggling since COVID, the lockdowns, employee losses, trying to get employees back into the office. Accordingly, they've had to increase their borrowing. Now you see rates going through the roof, and banks don't want to lend. That's pretty big. Credit standards are increasing. And I mean, loans used to be 4 to 5% for these companies. They're now 10 to 17, 18, maybe 19%. like I say, banks don't want to lend. Interest costs have gone through the roof. If the company can't get the loan, well, that outcome's pretty obvious. And we're just starting to see the effects of that. We're seeing corporate bankruptcies start to rise. For example, Chapter 11s are up 71%. Small businesses, sub V, are up 71%. Sorry, sub Vs are up 61%. The problem is going to get more and more acute, particularly during this fall quarter and next winter, as a lot of the current loans mature. Now, the Dallas Federal Reserve branch, each branch performs a series of surveys or data management or has kind of a specialty, so to speak. Dallas Fed does a manufacturing and energy surveys. And a big part of that, at least the most interesting part of that to me oftentimes, are the comments from the firms being surveyed. And let me just show you a few of the comments. I'll read them because I don't know how small your screen is. But the first one, high interest rates are affecting industrial production like never before. In addition to reshoring heavy activity, that means heavy manufacturing is moving back overseas. So reshoring heavy activity, supply chain issues, lack of qualified labor, and interest rates have placed an inverted incentive to grow due to a major slowdown in capital equipment expenditures. This is the time to stop raising interest rates and give confidence to the industrial segments to plan growth. Next one. For the first time in a long time, we are seeing customers reduce or cancel orders due to the softening in-use demand. We expect this trend to continue over the next few months. We continue to make capital investments, focusing on buying high-quality used manufacturing equipment at a discount. Next, customer orders came to a sudden halt. The overall volume dropped 51% year over year. The
Clay,
next one.
I have a question
Yes,
because
ma'am.
I was looking something up while you were doing this. What company is this?
These are just all different companies in the Dallas Federal Reserve region that responded to the survey. Each one of these is from a different company.
Gotcha. Okay, because I was just reading and looking up where credit card delinquencies are at a 10-year high. Just keep going.
Yep. So another firm, the phone is not ringing. Our sales team is working harder with less results. Projects are being postponed, and perhaps even more telling, payments are increasingly protracted. Last one. We have been very fortunate to have a large job that has sustained us for most of the summer and will continue into September. Without this large job, we would have been stupid slow, like a lot of our competitors are. There's softness in the industry right now, and because of that, we are worried what 6 months from now looks like.
It's going to look like a freaking recession, close to depression, in my opinion.
So you get these kind of comments from companies. That's not a booming economy. That's not bullish. You see the market, still growing, and it's like the old adage is the market can be stupid longer than you can be solvent. Okay? I don't have sometimes any real explanation for why the market is doing what it's doing. Oftentimes the market is not the brightest. There are certain, like during the from 2009 and onward, the Fed was pumping tons of money into the market, and it went up incredibly, rose even when corporate margins were being squeezed, etc. So we are seeing. Well, go ahead.
I'm not laughing at you. I'm laughing because you have the beginning investing background on tonight's stream.
I mean, a lot of this just, is.
I was just laughing. I was just like,
what? Oh, I do, don't I?
Yes, you do.
Technical difficulties. Stupid computer.
User error.
We're just trying to tease Melissa.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I made that thumbnail about 4 weeks ago, 5 weeks ago.
Yeah, probably about then.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, if we're going
We
to
are
be like all
professionals.
sorts of honest.
We are all kinds of professionals. At what, I'm not sure yet, but we're going to figure it out. No doubt. There we go. Thank you.
Okay.
Clay. Oh, we
What
love
else?
you. Listen, we're a hot mess sometimes, but there you go. We
But
are what we
we,
are.
we enjoy life. Life's been good to us. We're thankful for the graciousness that we have experienced and received. Was also asked by Colleen about mortgage lenders going bankrupt. Apparently was in the
Mm-hmm.
process of or knew somebody in the process of taking out a mortgage and was curious what happened. Well, remember, the teeter-totter we've talked about several times. As interest rates rise, the value of the loans, bonds, mortgages drops. So as interest rates have risen, any mortgage companies that are holding mortgages has seen significant loss in value. And these are 30-year long mortgages. So in terms of the teeter-totter, you can think of maturity as the length of the teeter-totter. So a
Close
short
to the
one,
mic. Get close to the mic.
so a short one
There you
moves
go.
very little, but a long one, you can get a lot of movement in terms of as the rates rise, the price drops. So it's significant. Give you an example, the 30-year bond that was issued, was it in May of 20? Was selling for about 50 cents on a dollar last time I checked. So it's dropped in value by half. The 30-year mortgages aren't much different. So big losses. Well, it's hard for them to raise funds when they have those kind of losses. They can't sell or place those mortgages and keep the income stream going. They don't make money off the interest rate. They make money off of selling mortgages, getting those origination points. So, if you have a mortgage lender that has some inventory that they haven't been able to dump, they're probably struggling. If you already have a mortgage in place, keep paying it. You probably won't notice any issues. Your mortgage has probably already been sold or will be. If your loan was just closed, it'll be sold off. You're in the process of closing, you're screwed. Your escrow funds should be safe, but you'll lose any fees or any fees that you paid so far, and you'll have to start over, which is a pain. It also may take you a few months to get your escrow back. I'm not sure on the length of time there, but that'll be tied up in the bankruptcy process. Could be 6 months or a year. I don't know.
I thought that was forfeited. No.
Not the escrow. The escrow's in a trust or an account. Either the deal goes through or you get your money back. So
I thought
you'll
the
get
escrow
the
was
escrow money back,
if you
but the
don't go
fees
through
you
with it,
paid,
they get to keep
anything to the bank, you'll lose.
it. Okay. Usually the realtor takes their percentage. And
Yeah,
so for
there
most
won't be any
people,
cut because the house is not closed. Mortgage
okay.
has not been completed. The deal won't close. You'll have to start a new mortgage application somewhere else.
Okay.
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 Now, another thing we have seen is
Jump down.
talking about banks, talking about debt, assets continue to flow into money market mutual funds, not bank deposits. So if people are taking their money out of banks and putting it in money market funds with a mutual fund, for example, like you may have a savings account at a bank. Right now, it's probably paying 0.5%. Well, if if it's several $1,000s, had somebody ask me the other day about it was either $10,000 or $20,000. Well, at 0.5%, you're going to earn on $10,000, $50 a year. At 5%,
not too good. Come on.
Yeah, at 5%, you're going to earn $500 a year. Double that for 20,000. So it's a pretty big difference, and particularly over time, it adds up hugely. So you see a lot of people, and if you have, a fair chunk of money at a bank in a savings account that you don't plan to touch anytime soon, you might want to think about moving it to a money market mutual fund. Now, I've seen several people talk about where deposits, we had the run on bank, the SVB, and what was the other bank that failed? Anyway, there were several banks that failed due to runs on deposits. The Fed had a temporary program where banks could borrow money, and the runs kind of stopped, or so people thought and are arguing. Well, the Federal Reserve just this past, maybe a week ago, 2 weeks ago, issued another update where deposits were up $45 billion. You go, okay, well, that looks like the run has stopped. But when you look at the actual underlying data, the non-seasonally adjusted data, it shows bank deposits down $61 billion. So the increase in $45 billion is simply mythical. It's just a mythical change that they did, and they call it a seasonal adjustment. So if you look at this chart, you can tell that money is still flowing into money market mutual funds, as it should. It's better for the investor, better for the depositor to earn 10 times the return than what they're currently receiving. Now, some other things going on in the economy. Challenger, a private survey company, reported a 220% increase in job cuts for the month. Job cuts. And if you remember the Dallas Fed comments that, I just covered, you can tell things are getting bad. Things are getting worse for companies, particularly small companies. Job openings dropped to their lowest level in 2.5 years, and that's the COVID drop. If you'll remember, things just absolutely crashed. There was the lockdowns, company just shut down, boom. So that's kind of an artificial event in that regard, but it's pretty significant. Now, the past 2 months, we lost 670,000 full-time jobs. Lost 670,000. We increased 1 million part-time jobs.
But Clay, there's 1.9 jobs for every human in the United States.
Do what now? I'm sorry, didn't catch you.
There's 1.9 jobs for every human in the United States.
Yeah, that's a little weird because that includes part-time offerings. And I'm not sure what the date of that is. I know it's dropped recently, but I haven't looked at it currently. So we lose 670 full-time, we gain 1 million part-time. That's not really a good trade, particularly for the individuals affected. People lose a full-time job, they have to take a part-time job or 2 part-time jobs. So another thing that I find bothersome is the BLS talks about payrolls,
What's the
growth in
BLS?
payrolls,
BLS
Bureau
is.
of Labor Statistics.
Thank you.
And this chart, it may be a little hard to read, but it shows starting on the left, the months from January, February, March, April, May, June, July, August, and then the total for all months. That's the big column you see. But if you'll notice, every single month you have an initial release, which is far more positive than the revision in later months.
Heck yeah.
And
What
that's
is
what
sorry.
Go ahead.
What does the benchmark mean?
Oh, the purple?
Yeah. Get them?
Is the
I hate it when you do that.
Yeah, I'm sitting here trying to think what they mean by that. I'm a little hesitant to say because I am not sure.
I mean, I popped up on the video a few times on my own, maybe because I'm watching it at different. I don't know what's going on here.
Yeah, this was actually sent to me. I have not seen it on a video. But the thing that interested me was that for the past 7 months, every month starts out with a more positive number, and then buried in the footnotes in succeeding months is a downward revision.
I would think the benchmark is what the goal is, or the benchmark is what's actual.
No.
No?
I'm not sure what it is.
Huh.
And the goal for 7 months would be, normally you'd say something below 300,000 was a slowing economy. So, 250, 300, you would want 2,100, you'd want, 1,500 to 2 million jobs.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm not sure what they mean when they say downward benchmark revision. I'll have to look that up. I'll try to get you an answer, but right now I just honestly don't know.
Actual.
But the key is every month has been downwardly revised, which statistically, that's a little weird. That every month, the initial headline projection that's in all the major financial papers is greater than what the reality is, and oftentimes by 30 to 50%. That's not science. That's not a scientific survey. That's black box magic. And I have a problem with that. I think that is concerning. When, it makes you almost wonder if the government is intentionally propagandizing the numbers when they're that far off, that consistently far off.
Yeah.
Now, it's getting to the point where, like I say, there's 7 out of 7 on revisions. So every time a BLS or BEA, Bureau of Economic Analysis, who does GDP, every time they release a number, I'm like thinking in my mind, let the hilarity ensue, because it's just comical what they're doing to the numbers. Oil prices, another big economic impact commodity, are just below $90 a barrel. Same price as in December of 21, when the SPR, the Strategic Petroleum Reserve, had about double the oil it does now, or 250 million barrels of oil more. So
You're on the
That oil
same
has been
graphic.
released and sold to help keep down the price of oil and gas. To what, Ellen?
You're on the same graphic.
Yeah.
Okay.
That better?
Sorry. Hi.
No, that's all right.
Y'all, please. I hate it when you do that and you know it. Y'all, please. If y'all have any questions, we are more than happy to answer, even if it's just off the wall, whatever. Feel free. Clay, you know I hate that. Moffat. Really?
To replace it.
You know,
Okay.
you put me on stream.
So what is that going to
Clay.
do to the price of oil?
Clay.
Ma'am?
You were off stream.
Yes.
Okay. Clay, you're off stream again. Stop. I swear to God.
Does it? They can still hear me.
No, they can't.
Yeah, it's just my picture's removed.
I can't hear you.
Huh. All right.
Huh. Okay.
Well, so not only is the strategic oil, reserve been depleted to try to keep down the price of oil, but we're going to have to start refilling it because it's gotten very low. So we're going to be buying even more oil.
Comments. Nope. Couldn't hear you.
Oh, okay. Sorry about that. I just thought the view was better than the chart. So what else is going on in the economy?
At your hair looks better.
Student loans the payments start this month. Average payment is going to be, I've seen everywhere from $300 to $500. So that's going to be real interesting once, people start losing that out of their paychecks in addition to already struggling. More and more people are living paycheck to paycheck. 61% according to Lending Club survey. 70% say they're stressed about finances due to inflation and a lack of savings. Only 45% of the people surveyed have savings, with nearly half of those having less than $5,000. We've got an all-time low in housing affordability. Payments right now are around $2,800 a month for the average house. High rates, and it's weird, and we talked about this a little bit previously. High rates are having an inverse effect on prices. Normally, when mortgage rates rise, the housing prices will collapse because nobody's buying a house. Mortgage rates,
afford it.
Mortgage applications fall. But people expecting that result weren't taking into account that over the past 10 years, we've had an artificially encouraged mortgage market with mortgage loans artificially low at 3.5%, 3%, 2.5%. Yes, ma'am.
Why would someone buying a home right now assume, because I've heard this quite a few times, that they're assuming that the market or the interest rates are going to fall in the next year or two. So they're taking out ridiculous mortgages.
Well, if that's their expectation, I think they're
going to be very disappointed.
Yes, they're going to be sorely disappointed, most likely. The weird thing about the mortgage market is that usually people with existing homes will sell them because they want to move to get in a school zone. They need more space. They, are getting near retirement. They want to downsize.
They have equity. And they want it out.
almost nobody with an existing home is putting it on the market now. The borrowers are locked in to 3% rates on average. It's I think it's 3.2 is the average mortgage rate.
I've heard up
So
to
there's
7.
no supply. There's no supply of existing homes. The only supply is new homes. Now, mortgage applications are dropping, but there's so few houses available that so far the prices haven't greatly depreciated, particularly on existing homes. Existing homes now sell for as much or more than new homes, which is extremely rare, extremely unusual. So we've got a very, very weird home housing market. How long can that hold? Well, like you mentioned, some of the new owners are buying, expecting rates to drop. Well, what happens when the rates don't drop, but their housing values start to decline?
They're screwed. That's what happens.
You know, a lot of people will just end up walking away. It's kind of like Airbnb houses. People bought them at the peak of prices and expecting rentals. Well, you know, people's incomes are being squeezed. They're taking cheaper vacations or not going on vacations. Vacancies in a lot of areas are increasing. So not only do they have this high mortgage payment, they have very little or no income. So what are they going to end up doing? They're probably going to end up putting it on the market before long.
Or turning the keys in, one or the other.
Yeah, turning the keys in, and the bank will sell it for whatever they can get because they don't hold the mortgage. They don't take the loss. Some investor who bought the mortgage-backed pool with that mortgage buried in it will take the loss.
Which is kind of what happened in 2007-8.
Well, yeah, a little different, but
except credit was worse on those mortgage-backed securities, and now credit is good, but the inflation is not keeping up with the rate of pay going up, and people are taking risks. So it's kind of the same, but it's also quite different. Does that make any sense to anyone? Maybe. No.
You know, 2006, 7, 8, a lot of people had mortgages that they couldn't afford. And when their rates, they had adjustable mortgages, and when rates started going up, they couldn't afford it, so they started walking away. That caused housing prices to start to fall. Other people, you know, found out they were underwater, didn't want to make that kind of expensive payment for houses underwater. A lot of people were losing their jobs, so there was all of a sudden this increasing supply of homes coming on the market.
For anyone not from the South, what does underwater mean?
It means your home is worth less than your mortgage. So you owe $500,000. You bought a $600,000 house. That house is now worth $400,000, and your mortgage is still $500,000.
And that's what's going to happen again here shortly. No.
We've got to get housing prices, existing homes, to start to drop. And so that's where some of the things like Airbnb, the Airbnb crisis, some of the people who are buying houses currently expecting rates to drop, particularly if they don't get raises and inflation continues, which we'll talk about inflation shortly. Question.
That's kind of what I was saying, is it's not the same thing, but it is.
Yeah, there's some similarities, definitely.
Thank you. All right.
Quaddy, how are European countries doing in comparison? They're struggling too. Their inflation is actually a little higher, and their central bank is not being as aggressive, which probably means that their inflation is going to bounce even higher. We'll see. Germany has pretty much killed a lot of its manufacturing capability. It's shut down all 9 of its nuclear plants. It's, Europe is going to have to increase its importation of natural gas this winter unless it is another very warm winter. But if it's a normal winter, their energy bills are going to go through the roof. So there's a lot of ifs, ands, and buts. But there's a lot of ifs, ands, and buts. But we're probably in better shape than they are overall. So there's a lot of things that are screwy. And eventually, over time, some sanity returns to the markets. Now, I can't tell you exactly when, but I can tell you, I honestly believe we're in a very precarious position with the economy and the markets. You know, what further evidence can I offer? Well, where'd it go here? I have one other piece of evidence that I think is remarkably convincing as far as the precariousness and the risk of the markets. Are y'all ready for this?
No.
Jim Cramer himself.
Oh,
Powell
stop
is
it.
winning in so many places, from homes to job openings to starting salaries. That's one of the reasons this market can go higher so easily. That's as good of a prediction as I can give you. We're doomed.
Whatever Kramer says is the actual opposite.
The guy is so amazingly consistent. He really, there's even an inverse
Consistently
Kramer
wrong.
fund. Yes,
Yeah.
consistently wrong. So Jim Cramer says the market can go higher so easily. We're screwed.
Yep.
That's the best evidence I've got. I really truly believe there is pain ahead, whether it's in the next 3 months, 6 months. I think it's coming relatively soon.
Quad E, honey, Clay.
Who is Kramer? Kramer is a well-known TV host that has a show called Mad Money.
He's on what, Fox or where is he?
CNN, I think.
CNN,
CNBC.
okay.
CNBC.
Whatever. Regardless. Same
And
bullshit.
he will give, during the show, he'll give his commentary on stocks and say, this stock is a really great value. It's got a great future. Buy it. And then within the next 6 months, that stock is trading at a third of the value where he recommended it. He's got quite a reputation. He used to be a hedge fund manager, but he lost so much money, he had to turn back to TV to try to make a living. He's kind of entertaining. He's got an obnoxious personality, but he's entertaining. But his recommendations suck.
Here we go. Hang on, I'm getting something going here. Okay, just for those of you women in the, yeah, that's kind of cool. If you have a cowlick right here, I decide every winter to cut my own bangs. No, don't do it. The hairstylist who actually made me a hairstylist, who convinced me or whatever, gave me the gumption to do so, has the same issue, and she keeps cutting her bangs on her own as well. This cowlick, no, don't. If you have this craziness, don't do it ever, ever, ever. So I'm growing this back out, and it's not fun. Go ahead. Sorry. Carson Pratt. Is he one of yours?
Carson Pratt. All right. Managed to get on for part of the live while making hay. Is that
like
hay?
Hay or actual hay?
Is that hay as in making moolah or feeding the moose? Interesting comment, but glad you could join us. Thank you, Carson.
You know, that name is dear to me.
That's her son's name. So yes, but we're not
And my
going to
middle
give out names or
and
anything
my
on this
middle
show.
name. Yeah. So sorry. So yes, I am a Carson.
Ellen obviously has no fear of being doxxed.
I don't care.
So
Dox me all you want to. You can do whatever you want to. I'm still gonna be here.
yeah. Now, so that's a little bit about the market, this week. Hope that gives you some information, some useful information. If you have any questions about anything I say, please feel free to ask.
And email us, Clay.
Yes, at Moffat on Money, or send me a DM on Twitter, Moffat on Money.
MoffatOnMoney@gmail.com.
Yes. I left that part off. Thank you.
Mm-hmm. That's what I'm here for.
Now, we talked about we're going to have, kind of have two segments tonight. The first is kind of how to help yourself. Got a question posted on the it was actually a chat a few weeks ago from Brentwood. Teach us how to help ourselves financially. What debt to tackle first? What debt is worth it? Fix the house, pay off small debt first, etc. So, I've encouraged people to throw out suggestions, ideas that they want to hear or want more information on. That's why we're here. So we're going to try to direct ourselves to providing some information on Brentwood Sheik's comments. So how to help yourself. We all know, I think, and can pretty much agree, times are getting tougher. Yeah. Costs have soared, income hasn't. So what are some tips that, could give you people on the best way to handle their finances? Now, obviously, there are two sides to your finances. There's the income and the spending. Talked about income briefly before a few times. I think if at all possible, everyone needs to have several streams of income from different sources. So going to assume everybody is trying, or income for a while is relatively fixed. So that leaves spending. And that's where we're going to tonight direct most of our attention. First thing I've seen or, recommend to people is to prioritize your spending and stick to it. Now, I've even gotten in this discussion with people who make a lot of money. Doctors, for example. And had one doctor, great guy, sweet guy, loved his wife and family. But like for Valentine's Day, instead of buying her a dozen roses, he bought her a greenhouse and 100 rose bushes. You can't do that when you're struggling to manage money.
Wait, a greenhouse and rose bushes?
A big greenhouse.
I got a vacuum cleaner one year for Valentine's Day.
Not from me.
No, not from you.
Yeah. But my mom made it perfectly clear: do not ever give a woman a pot or a cleaning appliance
for Valentine's Day,
Christmas or Valentine's Day.
It's a bad move. Needless to say, I divorced him, but that was years later.
So for him, I actually ended up, and I've recommended this to a few people before, is that they actually take their paycheck, cash it, and break it up into envelopes at the first of the month or whenever they get paid. Put it into envelopes. You have one envelope for the house payment, one for utilities, one for food, one for, dry cleaning, laundry, and miscellaneous, one for savings, one for debt. And once that envelope is empty, you're done until you get paid again. Go ahead.
All right. So shouldn't we teach our children the same if we give them an allowance, or if they get, they make money, then you get a little bit to spend, some to save, and some to donate.
Yeah, the only
How
thing
do
I
you
would
feel about that?
with allowances, I always made my daughter do something to earn hers, even at a young
Mhm.
age. When she was 5, she would help me take out the garbage, or she would help me wash dishes. Admittedly, it took me twice as long to do everything, but there were she would only handle the plastic ones.
I was talking about this.
Oh, oh, did you
Sorry.
keep the vacuum? No.
No. No. He
So,
got it in the divorce.
yeah, I, I think, I'm a huge believer in parents teaching their kids personal responsibility and how to handle money, how to save, that part of everything they earn needs to go into savings. Make it a habit, 10, 20%, and build up their savings for a rainy day. So, in terms of the envelope, I still recommend that strategy if that's necessary. Now, some people can write out a budget, see the numbers, and stick to it. But if you can't, if you get distracted or forgetful, or have a hard time keeping track of what's being spent where, go to envelopes. But you've got to ensure your essentials are covered, your debts are at least getting the minimum payment. Now, there's some general rules that can kind of serve as guides for how to budget. The 50, 30, 20 rule. 50% of your paycheck should go to essentials. 30% should go to what I call living choices.
Okay.
Sometimes you just need clothes.
Can you name essentials?
Rent, food,
Utilities, car, insurance.
Depends on the individual.
I mean, I'm just trying to get
Yeah, but it depends on the individual. Do you have a brand new Lexus?
I'm not saying it should be the most expensive car. I'm just saying if you're in like New York City, you don't need a car.
You don't need a car. Nobody has a car.
In the rural area, you have to have a car. So it depends on where you are, what your essentials are.
Yes.
Right? Okay.
Yes. 30% is the part you can choose. Sometimes you just need clothes for the kids, for yourself. Some medical and health extras like alcohol or Band-Aids, or let me finish, Ellen. I'll get there. Okay. Thank you. Or it's the rare purchases you have, your MOM memberships, those kind of things. Okay. Brentwood.
You don't have to do that, goofball.
I thought it was a question. I'm going to need an envelope for Super Chats. Because I'm sitting here trying to make a point, and Ellen's doing this all over the camera. It's a little distracting. But thank you, Brentwood. You're very sweet. You don't need
to do all that. We love it, but you don't have to do all that.
It's a very nice compliment, but y'all take care of yourselves first. Really.
Yes.
Appreciate it very much. If you ever
miss a meal or whatever because you're super chatting with us, no, don't do it. That is not okay with us at all. Yeah, never going to be a thing.
And then the final 20% should be your debt service, debt payments, and savings. So those are ranges for goals. If you're not there, Brentwood, but I love to send super chats and gift memberships. Makes me feel good.
We welcome them. We're not saying don't. We're just saying if it puts you in any kind of financial issue, then don't. True.
Yeah, we do very much appreciate the encouragement that offers us, the support it offers us, and it's just to me a hell of a compliment. So thank you.
It is. Thank you.
So yes, quite a 50% essential, 30% arbitrary, 20% debt savings. That's kind of a goal, a formula. Once you take down your expenses, if you want to see where you compare, you may not be there yet, but that's a goal that gives you what most financial people would say is a good balance.
Mm-hmm.
Now,
thank you, Brentwood. We would hope you would not.
One thing about the 30%, the living choices, some of that stuff, like clothes, you may not buy every month, but if you're not spending it, then save it. This is not an absolute, you have to spend the 30%. You're going to have some expenses, medical deductibles, whatever, that come up, which you will need a little extra savings for. Melissa, and those of us that are gifted memberships really appreciate it.
Brentwood.
Nice red heart shape.
We all appreciate it.
Yeah. Also, I have created some emojis for the channel.
Oh, I haven't seen those yet. Well, I'm not really. I'm only on it on my iPad because I've got to do computer here, so I can't see them. Can y'all see them? Anyone? Did you actually publish them?
Yeah. Let me see if I can get them up here real quick.
Okay. We've got Brentwood's doing them. I can't see them on StreamYard. Let me see if
that may be part of it.
Let me look. Hang on. What's the problem?
Well,
live chat. Okay, nothing's working for some reason.
Well, I'll have to hunt them later. I'm not sure.
Wait, I see something. It's just not letting me. Dagnammit. Is there a lighthouse?
Yeah.
Okay. I see what looks like a puppy, and then I see like, y'all, I'm blind.
Yeah, if you're on YouTube, you can see them. You've got, for example, the Scotch glass, which now whatever you want these to mean or whatever, but I was thinking Scotch glass. I'll drink to that. I'll toast that.
Then whose
dog is actually a bull mastiff that I used to have.
Is that yours?
Boy. Huh?
Is that yours?
Yeah, that was Gus.
You didn't put
just
Toulouse
good
and
boy.
Chunk and Mahoney up there? Really?
No. Didn't have a good picture of them. The lighthouse, something brilliant, blinding. So emojis. Yeah. So emojis, I'm not a native at this YouTube thing.
I thought we would put you guys up there. I mean,
I was in a good mood that day and created a few of them. So,
no, you
but if y'all have some ideas or something you want to see.
That's all you did. Oh, I have some ideas. Chunk does too. He's talking about it. Tell me all about it. He's like, no, Daddy will yell at me. See, Chunk got a little mouthy.
Crazy Cat Queen. The 1.8 jobs for every human in the U.S. Don't forget, every human means all people, infants and 90-year-olds. LOL.
Crazy Cat Queen. Damn good point. Damn good point. Mm-hmm.
I knew there's a reason why I didn't use that too much.
Mm-hmm. No, we really have to. You're going to regret this, Melissa, but you're getting one. Trust me. Just never stops.
So if y'all have any suggestions for good emojis, let us know or send me a pic and the idea. I'll be glad to put them in service.
Hi,
Crazy
Mark.
Cat Queen.
How are you doing?
My hubby is listening with me, so say hi to Mark. How you doing, Mark? How the hell are you? Glad to have you listening in tonight. You should support your wife in her YouTube endeavors. It's an extremely profitable and enjoyable time. So thank you for your support and encouraging her to listen to our channel. We appreciate it. Good to can I say see you? I can't say see you. What'd I say? Good to know you're listening. So thanks, Mark. Brentwood, hi to Mark from chat. Person turquoise waving. You really ought to see what StreamYard does to some of these emojis. It's kind of cute. Sky Ricky says, hi, Mark. Quad E throwing up, hello, Mark. So Mark's getting all the quan. Crazy Cat Queen, decreasing of benchmark sounds like lowering the standards. Also, Mark says hi. Melissa, I'll always vote for yes for a green bean.
I'm on mute. That's what happened.
And I didn't even do it.
Hey, Mark. Hey. I said that like 3 times. Clay's
And
not even responding.
Melissa's throwing out Mark. Mark is our favorite tonight. Mark's just getting all the love. More WAP.
I always vote yes for a green bean. Hi, Mark.
I'm trying to remember what the correct meaning of WAP is.
Well, I'm not sure what it is here, but
she told us last week.
Song. I know, and I forgot. Okay. Do you use Adobe Photo? I use Adobe Photo. I use Illustrator. I use Premiere Pro. I use Photoshop and all the things. Lightroom, all of it. What? We are professionals. Damn it.
You know, when you see WAP in capital letters, that just
you're gonna get
overwhelms the senses.
You're gonna get that probably every time because we're like, we know the song and we've seen videos about the song and we're just not sure what the hell any of it is. It what
I need an emoji for that.
Yeah.
What would be a good emoji? So we'll take your suggestions at 1-800-WAP.
Or moffatonmoney@gmail.com. How about that?
Seriously, y'all are a terribly creative group. We want to exploit that some. So if you don't mind being exploited, then create for us.
We are professionals, but we did go through a hurricane this week, so we're a little off.
Okay, back on debt a little bit.
Oh, wait, we'll have another one coming up this weekend or the next week. So, yay.
Now, as I mentioned, the 50, 30, 20 is ranges or goals. If you're not there, it's what you want to work on. Anything not in the 30% goes into savings, knowing you will probably need it later. Pay for unknown expenses ahead, housing repairs or car repairs, for example. Next thing to do would be to try to reduce debt. And this is kind of the tricky issue. For example, most people have more than one credit card. or car loan, whatever. So which one to pay down first with any extra money that might be available? Well, what I recommend is that first thing you do is itemize your debt. Write down how much you owe, when it matures, and the interest rate you're paying on it, along with the minimum payment. Current payment, I mean the regular payment and the minimum payment. The easy answer that a lot of people use is pay off the one with the highest rate first. But in my experience, that's not always the best case or solution. For example, say you're very tight on money and you have a $500 payment that ends in a few months. You have $15,000 in credit card debt and you pay in a minimum of $200 a month on it. Well, I might in that case suggest you pay off the car loan first, even though it's a lower interest rate. And it's not purely a financial decision, but eliminating the larger payment does several things. One, it gives you some cushion each month in case other contingencies arise.
Sorry.
Two, it will give you that much more to pay on your credit card. You're not going to pay off that credit card anytime soon, but you can cut your monthly debt load by a chunk. That will do a couple things. It'll help pay for the rising cost of essentials, food, and the basics. And when you pay off something, it's encouraging. It's a feeling that progress is being made. And when you are facing financial pressure and stress, having some encouragement is vital. That's critical. So when money is tight and there's no quick way to increase income, not every decision is a purely financial one. And often this, may even end up paying off the debt sooner. Another option you can do is to go to the lender. If your income is fixed and your bills obviously have increased due to inflation and the cost of other essentials, see if you can work out a lower payment or rate. Now, this is honestly kind of a long shot. There are some financial institutions that might be willing to work with you often. Big ones, hardly ever. But you should ask. Give it a shot. With the increasing rate of bankruptcies, they may become more willing.
No. The
old adage in banking is that a rolling loan gathers no loss. Remember, banks don't handle losses well. And particularly if their losses, the loss rate is increasing, they may be willing to go to greater lengths to try to contain that, because it does present large risk to them. So if they can keep rolling the loan, they don't have to write it off, even if they're getting a lower interest rate. Some payment is better than nothing. So it doesn't hurt to ask. Work with them to pay it. And most of them, particularly as bankruptcy rates get higher, smaller institutions, credit unions are probably more likely to work with you. The big banks will be the tough one. If you have IRS debt, if you owe the government money, pay it. Work with them to pay it, because they can really screw up your life if they so choose. And it'll take you a year to unwind the mess or longer. So IRS, you have to pay attention to. Other options you could do would be, for example, to do balance transfers on credit cards. If you've got a good credit rating or a solid credit rating, you get more offers, credit card offers each month than what you can use. Well, if you read those carefully, some of them will transfer balances for free. They won't charge you an upfront fee. Now, if they're charging you 5%, that's a no-go. But if they give you a free balance transfer when you open up the account, then that'll save you a month or 2 months of payments. So that's a way, if you're in a tight bind for a month or two and you need some breathing room, maybe you can transfer or roll over your debt into another credit card. You can also consider consolidating your loans. The key there is if your interest rate's going to be lower. Instead of having multiple credit cards, maybe you go to your bank and do a second mortgage loan, or maybe they'll do a consolidation loan at a lower rate than what you're paying now. As long as you can lower your interest rate, that's probably a good choice. Other choices you may have, for example, you may have medical bills you're working on, and you're wondering, how to pay the medical versus fixing the house, for example. Well, for the vast majority of medical providers, as long as you pay $50 a month, they'll accept that. They won't turn you over, or the credit agency will accept that. So on bills that don't charge you interest, try to pay the minimum payments and pay off interest-bearing debt first. Mark Singleton. Mark is in the house. Glad to have you, Mark. Appreciate you joining us. Welcome. Welcome to the fam. Now, in terms of the question was specifically, prioritizing home repairs versus debt repairs. Debt payment. The big key, just speaking in general terms, is whether or not the home repair issue will worsen if you delay. If you have water damage and it can increase, the cost can increase over time if you don't address it quickly, mold, mildew, whatever, wood rot, those kind of things, you need to go ahead and get that kind of damage taken care of first. If it's just aesthetics, you don't like the tile in the kitchen, again, priorities. Now I understand for some people going into an ugly kitchen can be highly irritating, but getting debt paid off feels a lot better than what your tile looks like, if that makes sense. I'm not trying to be facetious or, trivial or whatever. But you won't lose your house or lose your car or have your credit rating damaged if you keep the tile.
Can I make a
Sure
crazy suggestion here? Unless you're a chef and what you're creating is in your kitchen and it is not happy for you and you hate it, then you're not going to create anything that's good in your kitchen. Is that fair?
Yeah, that's fair.
Okay.
But you still got to take care of the debt first.
Look at the cutie, though. I love it. I'm sorry. I'm such a sucker for that little girl. Mm-hmm.
She loves that dog. Crazy loves that dog.
Mm-hmm. And she knows it. Hey, sweet.
Now, if you have doubt or some uncertainty between the house and the debt, whether or not the delay will end up costing you more in terms of damage to the house, then go ahead and do the house.
Yeah.
The unknown can get really, really expensive with regards to home repairs. Now, keep in mind, debt is a stern taskmaster. It demands to be paid. That's the problem with debt. So if you use your credit cards, for example, for ordinary expenses and charges, but forget what you've charged and you end up spending too much each month, then stop using them. Go to that envelope system if you have to. But
I don't have
most people, when they use a credit card for ordinary expenses, they get the statement at the end of the month and they're a little shocked by how much is on it. They forgot everything they put on it.
Okay.
Maybe you do, maybe you don't, but that's just a suggestion. Carry one for emergencies, but make it awkward to get to.
Chuck needs to go out. Sorry. Hang on.
Well, that's okay. Make it awkward to get to, something you can't just whip out quick and easy. Make yourself struggle for it so that you think, do I really want this thing? Perform plastic surgery on the others. Don't cancel the account. That might hurt your credit rating, actually. It's stupid. Closing a credit account with a zero balance can actually hurt your credit score. But just take your cards, put them somewhere where you won't have them, or, as I say, perform plastic surgery, cut them up. Now, if you're not the one who pays the bills, and I know in most families, the husband will pay the bills, or the wife will pay the bills, or somebody. If you're not the one paying the bills and want to cut back, carry a little memo book with you and just take a second to write down everything you put on a card. Learn your spending habits. It's important for you to understand what your spending habits are. Also, I have a $50 rule. If I'm out and I see something that's not really necessary or that I didn't go out for, if it costs more than $50, I wonder if I need it. So I sleep on it. I don't buy it right then. I go sleep on it. And the next day I usually figure, I'm glad I didn't buy it. If I really want it, it's easy to go back and get it. I find oftentimes my desire for items fade and I spend less. Another thing that may be of help in terms of your debt, if you have a mortgage that you put in place prior to September of 21, and you put down less than 20% on your home, then you're probably paying some insurance called PMI, private mortgage insurance. And it's to insure the bank against default due to low collateral. You didn't put down 20%. Well, you're probably right now have more than 20% equity in your home if you financed it prior to September 21. Plus, you've been making payments for 2 years. So you can probably get that PMI insurance eliminated. That's just extra money you're spending every month that you don't need to. So contact your mortgage lender and see about dropping the PMI insurance. Those are some tips, guidelines for personal debt. Hope it's, again, some help. I see Brentwood has a couple questions. Does it really help credit scores to put a little something on a credit card and paying it off each month, or just let it sit at zero? Now, when you get a new card, I tell people, put $25 on it, pay it off, then put it away. Because once you've activated that card by spending something on it, even $10, $20, then that is now included in your credit score, in your available credit, which a big part of your credit score is your available credit versus how much of that available credit you've used. If that ratio is below 10%, that's ideal. If it's below 20%, that's really good. If it's below 30, that's good, and you get the idea. So the more available credit you've got, the better your credit score. It's kind of silly in one way, because you could have somebody that doesn't use debt, is extremely diligent in their expenses and spending, pays all their bills on time with cash. But because they never use debt, don't have credit cards, their credit score is zero. They don't have a credit score, which is kind of ridiculous.
Sorry. Still taking a chunk out, but I heard that. And you have to use the card at least once.
Yeah, that's what I was saying.
Okay.
Thank you.
Hear that part.
Yeah, that's all right. No problem. Now, so use the card once, then put it away. And that's the best thing to do for your credit score. So any other questions on personal debt or finances? Hope that gives you a little bit of better guidance or information. Now, the next thing I wanted to talk about is inflation. Again, I like hot topics. This has been a hot topic in the market over the past week or two. A lot of people thinking that inflation has been whipped, that the Fed will start cutting rates. Hope has really been raised the last few months, that it's been tamed as it's dropped down to 3%. Well, got news for you. It's back. It's actually not falling anymore. It's actually increasing again. Remember, I said that, previously, that once inflation goes over 5%, it takes, historically, it's taken 5 to 7 years to get it back under 2%. Now, there's no basis for expecting any different this time, for expecting it to be one bout and done. We'd all like that. We'd all hope that would be true, but it just normally doesn't work that way. It rises, it falls, it rises, it falls. It's erratic. So this week we saw the Fed has a few indicators that it follows very closely, that it uses as the basis for its decision making. One of those is called PCE, personal consumption expenditures. Now, the Federal Reserve governors follow that more closely than the general inflation index, CPI, because they think it's more consistent. It's more comprehensive, is actually the word I was looking for. So PCE jumped this month 10% to 3.3%, indicating that the fight against inflation is not over. It also is, along with a few other indicators like core PCE. Core PCE is just PCE taking out food and energy, which are two highly volatile groups. So taking those out, core increased 4.2%. So what this is kind of indicating with some of the other jobs things I mentioned, the increasing bankruptcies, et cetera, it looks like we're headed toward an era of high inflation and stagnant growth, otherwise known as stagflation, heralding back to the Jimmy Carter era. So the idea is that consumers currently are having to spend more and save less, which is just the opposite of what the Fed needs to see to cut rates. So seeing with inflation starting to rise again, the probability is that higher rates are ahead. Now, will they pause this month or will they go ahead and hike again? The market is thinking that they have peaked. I'm starting to think with some of the numbers coming out, they may hike again. It's going to be close. But the market isn't pricing in further rate hikes. I think, and Powell has said this repeatedly, other board members, even the dovish ones, the ones who generally support lower rates, have said that we will have higher for longer. They all basically are agreed that that's what's necessary right now with the metrics that they follow. So, personal savings rates have dropped 3.5% down from 4.3%. That's a pretty steep drop. And the Fed looks at that as, consumers are still spending. My take is, yeah, they are spending, but they're having to withdraw from savings to buy the essentials. That's not good. But be that as it may, still spending. There are other impacts of inflation going on. Credit card debt, I think Ellen alluded to that a little earlier. Credit card debt has surged to over $1 trillion for the first time in our history. Other consumer debt rose $15 billion last month alone. Credit card delinquencies, these aren't bankruptcies. These aren't defaults. These are just where somebody, people are missing payment for 30, 60, 90 days before they're forced into default. They hit 7.2% this month, higher than pre-COVID levels. Things have been weird since COVID. So we have to take some of the COVID era stuff with a grain of salt. But pre-COVID, credit card defaults are up. Auto delinquencies are up. They hit 7.3%, up from 6.9 last month. This also is higher than pre-COVID. So, I hear some talking, well, what do you call them? Not talking mouths, but anyway, I hear some economist, on public shows saying, both rates are below the Great Recession rates. Well, that's a hell of a standard right there. But to me, the big thing is the trend. The trend is increasing and modestly rapidly. But there is a quirk. Both rates are lower than Great Recession levels unless you look at the category of 60 days past due. We've passed Great Recession levels in that category. Shock of shocks. It's mostly in the subprime loan category. Yes, banks for the past several years have been making subprime loans and auto loans. Again, what's a subprime loan? Subprime loan is basically a loan to somebody that can't afford it. That's the simplest definition I can give you and the most accurate. So is it any shock when times start getting a little slow or a little tough that those default rates start bouncing higher and higher? Some other interesting trends I haven't seen a whole lot of talk about is that shoppers are turning more to buy now, pay later plans for necessities such as groceries. Some stores like, I don't know, Whole Foods and some others will let you buy groceries and then pay for them set you up an account, pay at the end of the month, kind of like credit card. Usage has surged 40 to 50%. That's pretty rapid. Americans are depleting savings at the rate of $1 billion a month. Things are getting worse. It's subtle, it's under the radar, but things are getting worse. We even see, big retailers like Target. Target stock is down 22%. They're seeing huge increases in shoplifting. Their last report, they had 1.3 billion in shrinkage, which is corporate's fancy name for shoplifting. Their fancy name for theft. So basically 1 in 20 items that they sell walked out of the store, walked out on their own. Now, actually, most people don't realize this impacts inflation as well, because the people who don't steal end up paying for those who do steal, for those who engage in five-finger sales. If you've watched anything in the news lately, you've seen the mobs crashing retail stores in the large cities with no police reaction. These communities are laboring mightily to destroy the country, doing everything they can to just create chaos and disruption and higher prices and disorder. It's just insane. We have labored mightily to normalize insanity. Ellen's messing with the computer here.
Sorry, it's a lot to walk back upstairs.
It's just kind of weird when you see a hand creeping in from the side.
Sorry.
Going for you. You don't know what.
It's a lot to walk back upstairs.
That's okay. No problem. Glad to have you here. Now, keep in mind, during all of this, the Fed's goal is 2% inflation. Jay Powell just finished up the Love Fest in Jackson Hole. Isn't it nice? The Federal Reserve gathers every August in probably one of the most expensive vacation resort areas in the world, Jackson Hole.
Right.
Get her down. Thank you. My life, you think I'd be used to it? Down. Where was I? Oh, Jackson Hole.
Sorry, y'all.
And said, basically, and what she said a dozen times, he's prepared to keep hiking, admitting the success at fighting inflation is not going well. They're not getting the results they want. And we just saw where core inflation, PCE, is still rising. Core PCE has been above 4% for 30 months now. We're seeing oil prices increase from 67 a month and a half ago to nearly 90 now. Keep in mind, historically, oil prices drop when economies slow. But with the war, Saudi Arabia's cut production. The U.S. is no longer the world's leading exporter. Russia is cutting production. Prices are increasing. And winter is coming. That usually increases the demand for oil, heating oil. So that will have repeating effects throughout the economy. And in all of this, Biden's BLS, BEA keep producing positive reports, which is most likely bullshit.
Ruru's got the ball.
Brentwood Chic, puppies wanted screen time.
Stole it.
Puppies always want screen time, whether the screen is on or not. They always want to be the center of attention.
You're a thief.
They are high maintenance pups.
So Lila had the ball, and she hardly ever gets.
Okay, she gets the ball a bunch. She has gotten good and aggressive at getting the ball. She is.
Now she's got the other one. Girl.
Now the clock is ticking. The cheap debt is being worked through. Companies are starting to refinance. Treasuries are starting to refinance. Airbnb folks are starting to refinance or sell the properties. Just saw where 17 million Americans are going without home insurance. They can't afford it. Half of those make under $40,000. So, the mortgage company will only go along with this for 45 or 60 days before they buy insurance and force the homeowner to pay for it. And it's going to be a lot more expensive insurance. So what happens when they can't pay for this insurance? Well, the mortgage company will force them into default. So that's just starting. If disaster strikes, hurricanes, tornadoes, whatever, expect to see electrical costs continue to soar. The bottom line, Americans are simply running out of money due to inflation and high rates. Bottom line in all this, what's the goal behind all this chaos and mess? Well, moving on down the road, you'll own nothing and be happy.
ESG.
WF. Great reset.
Yeah.
So you will own nothing and be happy.
Or economic, social.
So how's that going so far?
Sorry, it's puppy time for me.
It's Tallulah. Dogs, Tallulah has a little bit of a shrill scream. So that's a little bit in the inflation fight. And why is everything going to hell in a handbasket kind of like it at once? Is it just simply the law of nature, just the deterioration in second law of thermodynamics, or is it somewhat being planned by people in control? Is this what they really want? Are these the fruits that they want to see in society? It's getting to be so consistent that And I'm not a big conspiracy theorist, but it's getting to be so consistent, you just got to wonder, is it planned? So you'll own nothing and be happy. Melissa, Green Bean says hi. I hear you. It's kind of hard not to hear Tallulah. She will demand attention.
Oh, she's
So
a sweetheart.
she's a loud sweetheart.
But she's a sweetheart.
So anybody have any questions? We've got a few minutes left. We'll open it up to questions, comments, or just generalized rambling.
Brentwood sheep don't like it, don't want it. Neither do we. It's give it to me, dum dum.
Yeah, agree. Don't like it, don't want it. Don't know that can stop it.
We got to try though.
Yeah, I'm like, maybe it's just time to, roll on out, do some homesteading, some nice quiet spot, and just watch the sunrise. But there's a fight to be fought.
We will fight.
And for our kids, for grandkids, for family members, whatever. But I think it's just hard to deny there's a lot of chaos in society. That society has deteriorated greatly from what it was previously. People are ruder, meaner, more violent. Things are just crazy. So where's all this coming from?
Brentwood, I think to right the ship, there's going to have to be a major reckoning, and I don't think it's going to be pretty.
I've always said that pain is a great educator. And once people get tired of hurting enough, they will change their behavior. They'll change their views. I don't know if we're to that point where enough people will change their views or perspectives or are willing to stand up and do something about it.
I guess one of the points that I'm concerned about is, can y'all hear me? But either we're going to get to a point, at least in the U.S., where the people are done and they're going to stand up for their God-given rights, or they're going to lay down. It depends on how many of us are willing to stand up and fight for what we believe, and how many of us are just going to lay down.
Well, I don't know that I would necessarily agree with the lay down part. I don't know how many of y'all have read Atlas Shrugged, Ayn Rand's epic work. And in it, the protagonist, John Galt, is a worker that is at a corporation that is becoming socialist. It is no longer going to reward workers for their productivity, but reward everybody equally, regardless of contribution.
Socialism and communism.
And Galt, they're given a nice flowery speech about how wonderful it will be, etc. And everybody in the firm is kind of, agreeing and going along. And Galt gets up and says, I will not be a part of it. I will let and I forget the exact phrase he used, I will let the engine of progress grind to a halt. And he gets up and leaves. And that starts the question that resounds throughout the book. Where is John Galt? Where is John Galt? Well, he and other productive people basically moved to a remote area, off the grid, we would call it today, and created a whole new productive society themselves. And I actually think, now, if you read Atlas Shrugged, it has been terribly prophetic over the trends in industry and business over the past 20 years.
Okay. In case We have young ones on here who have no idea who Atlas is. What would
Atlas
happen if
Shrugged.
he shrugged?
The-
Atlas was, he held the
At-
world on his shoulders.
Yeah, Atlas is innovation, free markets. And if he shrugs, the world falls off, collapses. And, if we look at a lot of the underlying trends with industry and employment and jobs and inflation and all that stuff, it seems like things aren't, or maybe closer to collapsing than they are to wildly succeeding. Now, Ellen's cooking up something. Don't know what. So I think that kind of restarting somewhere else is probably more likely than people just laying down, because
Sorry. Thank you.
little Miss ADD is doing her thing here.
PhD.
So I think that's more likely than people just laying down. Productive people will always want to be productive. They'll always want to have some creation. They'll always want to innovate or adapt. That's just innate in their nature. That is a small part of the population, but it is an essential, historically has been an essential part of the population. So I think it would be more likely that those people just go to some remote area and start again.
Can you share this? Sorry.
This is the, I don't know who carved it, but the portrayal of Atlas supporting the earth, the notion behind Atlas Shrugged, bearing the burden of the earth, the weight of the earth on his shoulders, keeping it suspended, keeping it from crashing, keeping it from destroying.
So if he shrugged, it would just all fall down.
Yeah. So
here's your keyboard back. Sorry.
Brentwood has an idea.
Book club.
Book club.
Yep.
The only thing is, honestly, Atlas Shrugged, if you get it in the paperback edition, is about 700 or 800 pages. That's a hell of a read. Anne tells a wonderful story, but she could have done it in 300 less pages easily. It's kind of interesting. John Galt's speech in the book is either 60 or 90 pages. It's a great speech, but 60 or 90 pages. How many hours would it take somebody to speak 90 pages?
A long time.
Long time. But it's a once you get into it past 30 or 40 pages, first 30 or 40 pages, you think, is this ever going to get good? But after that, you really start getting hooked. When I read it, I'd be excited to go to, I'd read before I go to bed, and I'd be excited to go read it every night. It's kind of addictive in that sense. It's a big book, a lot of words, a lot of pages, but a good read in terms of describing what's going on or has gone on.
This was Sandy's I wrote she'll build this for a future. Things are crazy. I can hear you. Okay, Melissa read that in college.
Right.
Brent wanted to reread it. Same. Brentwood, I don't remember much from it. Book club idea, absolutely. Exactly what I was just going to say. Good deal. We're game. Awesome. Might need more than a week. I'm thinking like a monthly.
Yeah, probably a monthly book club would be best. Practical Realities, we do 2 shows a week, and so the clubs, the recipe, and the book will be in addition to that. And so, and then y'all have jobs and kids and dogs and cats and things. So probably a monthly deal would
Yeah.
work out the best.
Weekly is going to be a lot for us to handle,
Yeah.
especially with Clay teaching and everything else. Um, Definitely monthly book club. And monthly, I think recipe.
Mm-hmm.
We're working on that one. That will be like the first one that we do. Is I do have a really good chicken sausage recipe that's in a red cream sauce. Um, it's yummy, but
We'll work on those details and have more information on you shortly. We've got to try some setups, see how they work, um, and then we'll give the first one a go, and we'll probably have a couple of recipes a night, maybe do a half and half. Let y'all suggest something. I don't know.
we'll probably have three: Clay's, mine, and someone else's.
Do something like that. So we'll see
Clay's are
how it
very,
goes.
very short. Let's just put it that way.
Add meat, turn on the oven, flip it over once, you're gold. So, but yeah, that'll be fun. Look forward to that. The book club.
Oh yeah, want to share your thoughts and just the world is so weird these days. It's good to have something positive to look forward to and to discuss, like in a kind way. Which turn on the news, not much is kind. Do anything, not much is kind. So we like discussions. We like to see what you guys think, what you get out of um, discussions and what you read. Like, how do you view it? How do you see it? What is your impression?
And I like books that make me think. Atlas Shrugged was the first Rand book I read, and I went into it without any real, notions or background as to her particular positions, thoughts, words, whatever. I don't agree with some of the underlying philosophy, but I think in terms of her describing the practical reality and her knowledge of human nature, I think she's very astute, very informative, very instructive. So, I commend her for that, even though I may not embrace her particular philosophy fully. I think man has a higher purpose rather than to just make stuff. But in terms of her insights into human nature and reactions and dispositions, she has a particular genius. And like I said, Atlas Shrugged's almost prophetic. Remember, it was written in the 30s, 1930s.
True that. Have I ever told you the first book made me cry that I read?
No.
The Catcher in the Rye,
Okay.
which now no longer is allowed in schools because of the language. Yeah, that was a great book, a classic. Of
Yeah,
course,
there's
Old Yeller.
yeah, I'm not going to be reading Old Yeller or what's the one with the black horse?
Black Stallion,
No,
Black Beauty.
maybe it's Black Beauty. It's something sad. We're not doing any animals die in the end books.
What's the one with the Irish setters? Or at least maybe they weren't Irish setters. I assumed they were Irish setters. They were the two dogs. Can't recall.
Yeah. Yeah. Just I'm
Another
just
one you hadn't read for a long time. And yeah, I know.
I'm just telling you that.
Where the red fern grows. Thank you.
Yeah.
Yes, Brentwood. That was it. That was a great book.
Just not going to be doing any animal die in the end books.
Clay is very sensitive to that.
I
He'll
just
never tell you that, but he's very sensitive to
yeah. There's just better things to read. That's all I say about that.
Bless you. You're sweet.
Yeah.
All right. So we will as soon It is so good and so sad. But we will definitely get back to you within a week with a book.
No, I'm not
No.
going to give any firm commitments yet. We wait till we do it and then we do it because we've been kind
Alright
of
then.
behind on living up.
We're behind on life right now.
Yes.
So we're trying to figure it all out. Sherlock Holmes
Sherlock
is
Holmes would
good.
be a good,
Yeah.
yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So we might come up with, I don't know, 3 or 4 different titles and just take a poll on it. Just take a vote
Hey y'all.
one
y'all.
Saturday night on it.
Anything that has a movie, I'm all for.
No, it's going to be the actual
I am
book.
the worst reader ever.
We're going to title this Ellen's in Tears Book Club. She'll watch videos. She'll watch
I
movies.
suck at reading.
She just,
I'm a little dyslexic, and reading something, my mind is everywhere else except for the page. So it takes me forever to read something.
but it's a good skill to acquire and a discipline to acquire. And we talked about book club, not video club.
I know. I will do the things.
So,
Y'all are going to kill me, but I will do the things.
and let's face it, books are always better than the movies. I mean, it's an extremely rare occasion when they're not. The books are just, start filling your mind and you create pictures and imagery and there's more detail. They're truer to the author's, I mean, it's perfectly true to the author's vision, dreams, concepts, whereas the movie may distort it, to put it mildly.
How did you get a hurricane? I didn't. Hit the wrong one.
Brentwood, you get a hurricane pass.
Brentwood, yeah, they are always better. I love them, and I thank you for the hurricane pass. I have one child that loves to read, will read anything and everything. Maybe I can have her read it and just tell me what goes on.
You can do audio books.
Is that the same thing?
Yeah.
Does that count?
Yeah, you
Okay,
get
good.
Morgan Freeman reading the book.
I might go to sleep.
Or Samuel Jackson.
I might go to sleep. Matthew McConaughey, I'll go to sleep. You gotta have somebody that gets on my nerves that I won't want. Oh God, this is gonna be so tough. But I will do it, y'all. I am committed.
Get
just for y'all.
Get an audio book by Taylor Swift. That would annoy the hell out of anybody.
Negative. If you get James Earl Jones,
Got to
that'll be the best.
got to say rest in peace to Jimmy Buffett. Grew up with him a lot, and
I've been to over a dozen of his concerts, and he lived his life like a song.
Yeah, he was a good Auburn man. In case you didn't know it, he actually attended Auburn. He actually was kicked out of Auburn after one semester with a GPA of, I think it's 0.9. So
he was a homemade Brentwood. Listen, I grew up a Parrot Head. My first concert, I was 10 years old and went to so many. I've got pictures. You've seen them, Clay.
Yeah.
Me and my brother and my family, and he was just he never won any award for any music that he ever did, yet he was extremely popular among a ton of people, but he didn't fit into a box.
Well, and he kind of created a genre of music on his own. And he was actually in Jurassic Park, the movie. Most people don't know that.
I don't even know that, really.
But there's a scene where Tourists are in like a luncheon area, a little adult bar area, and one of the T-Rex crashes through the wall and everybody starts fleeing. Well, there's a 20-second shot where Jimmy Buffett, wearing his usual parrot hat or whatever,
He doesn't usually wear a parrot hat.
his Margaritaville hat or whatever, his, what's his club called? Followers are called parrot heads.
Mhm.
You know, he has hats with parrot head on it. He's wearing his parrot head hat, and he runs over and he grabs 2 margaritas and then he runs. So that's
The
his
original yacht rock. You got it.
yeah, that's his movie appearance in Jurassic Park.
Yeah, I've got a lot of his or I can probably sing just about any song
She knows the words to, or did to every song.
that he's
Just
ever written.
every song he had written. It was kind of epic. He didn't like coming to Nashville after he was arrested and had to spend the night in jail there.
He spent the night in jail in so many places.
Yeah. Yeah.
Mhm.
He was a hoot. He was faithful to what he sang.
Absolutely.
So that, love him or hate him. I remember I used to hang out at a bar here on occasion. Just, you know, became friends with everybody and would drop by there when I had nothing else to do. And the owner loved Jimmy Buffett and would play Jimmy Buffett radio station continuously on Sirius, and that would drive me nuts.
It was only like the top songs, say like Cheeseburger in Paradise and
Now they
Friends
would
and,
play B-side songs 24 hours a day.
and you didn't like that?
No, it was just too much of the same thing over and over and over and over. So, but Ellen helped me appreciate some of his other less popular songs.
Oh, on that trip where we got towed off the beach.
Yeah.
And I forced him to listen to Jimmy Buffett all night. And I sang every song. He
Yeah.
was so mad.
We were on the front porch of this B&B out in the middle of nowhere, stuck for the whole weekend. And listened to Jimmy Buffett practically the whole weekend.
I made him.
So.
Man, I did give you cash for the hotel room, everything else. So I figured I at least had.
Yeah. Our second date, I had my wallet and credit cards, but I didn't carry cash. So car breaks down. We have to get a ferry, a wrecker, come on the island, tow the truck off, use the ferry, cross it, have it towed to a shop. Credit card's fine. Everything works. Find one place to stay. We're in the middle of nowhere. Find one B&B that has a room we can stay. Only takes cash. So I have no cash. There's no ATM anywhere around. Ellen's got the cash.
Women, do you ever go on a second date with a man overnight to a place you've never been before and not carry at least $1,000 with you? I'm just saying that is a very good plan. You never know what's going to happen.
The CCQ suggests the good earth.
CCQ is what?
What's
The Chinese Communists.
No.
Thank you, Britain. Would always have cash and more than you need.
All right, Mark, help me out here. What?
Sorry. Second date. Here you go.
All right, Mark, help me out here. CCQ, the good earth. Is that a book? You recommending a book? Oh, Crazy Cat Queen.
That's Mark. Hey, Mark. we didn't
make the connection. Sorry
Crazy
about
Cat
that.
Queen Mark. Sorry.
Yes. Okay, Mark, you've definitely made everybody's night tonight. Thank you.
Absolutely.
The good earth that I'm going to make some notes here.
Paper, pencil.
Yeah.
Okay. Crazy Cat Queen.
We had not Harry Potter. We had Sherlock Holmes.
Sherlock Holmes. We had Ayn Rand.
Atlas Shrugged.
Yes, and The Good Earth.
All right.
Mark, we're a little slow. We apologize.
Yeah. And I don't do YouTube like some of the other people do. So some of the acronyms and shorthand, I'm kind of a little fuzzy on.
We figured you were Mark Queen. You know, we assume that the Mark has the last name.
Oh, yeah.
We're like Mark Singleton. Don't know who that is, but hey, Mark, what's going on?
Shouldn't you be like Crazy Cat King or something?
There you go. It took us a few minutes.
Yeah.
We are an hour. We apologize.
Appreciate you chipping in, and give your sweet wife a hug for us.
Yes, we love her. She is the best. I mean, not above any of you guys. Just saying.
Love y'all.
We do love her.
We really have
Aww.
a cool little family here.
Thank you, Sandra.
That's very sweet. Thank you, Sandy.
You are the best.
We really do have kind of a cool little community, a great little family here, as I refer to it, and it's still kind of fascinating to me that you can form attachments or relationships.
Where did it go? I know we're still on. I hit the wrong button. It's right there. Okay, make it bigger.
Ellen is trying to end the broadcast and kill Chrome.
I was trying.
We are saying Ellen cannot touch the mouse anymore.
Yeah, it's been a long day. Didn't Edward G?
What was the one you were?
Second date. It's on there. Second date, carry a gun. It's on there.
Oh,
ba-boom.
Oh, damn! I was looking for it. Second date, carry a gun. First date, carry a gun. You know, times are weird.
Mm-hmm.
If you don't feel comfortable, don't. But you need to be able.
Bring cash.
You need to bring cash. You always need to be able to defend yourself because the police sometimes are only hours away.
Except if you're on an island.
Then they're
where the ferry comes twice a day.
And we had to have a special trip made because they had already made their run.
So make sure you're with someone you can trust when you're in that situation on a second date.
And don't go on a second date. Don't go camping on a second date when a hurricane's coming. Yeah, just didn't plan that too well. It wasn't really an official hurricane. Just this very severe thunderstorm blew up that night.
I mean,
winds were like 50 miles an hour.
You were holding the tent up with your feet.
Yes, in the air all night long while rain was pouring down, seeping in everywhere. There was a puddle of water that deep in the tent.
So Toulouse was sleeping on his chest.
Ellen was passed out, and I was up like I'm in a OBGYN chair, ready for my examination.
I can sleep
for most of the night, trying to keep the tent from literally collapsing down on us with water. That's what woke me up.
John, I can sleep through just about anything, no doubt.
So
Clay will tell you that. That is, I can.
Yeah. And then
I don't recommend going on a second date on an island that is remote. That you're screwed if something happens, but bring cash. That is all I've got.
Melissa, didn't Edward G. Robinson do the film version of Good Earth, or am I thinking Grapes of Wrath?
I don't know.
I don't remember a film on Good Earth.
So. Crazy Cat Queen, you got everybody all curious.
Brooks.
Huh?
Rex Heuerman at Melissa. All right, Melissa, what'd you say?
Here, he just passed it. That one.
Huh.
Write that down. We're going to figure all this out at some point. Rex Heuermann, Edward G. Robinson, Grapes of Wrath, Good Earth.
I already got Good Earth.
Okay. Edward G. Robinson, Grapes of Wrath.
Got it.
Okay. And Rex Heuermann. I will turn this channel into a crime channel. Y'all turn it into whatever you want to turn it into.
Wait.
Hey, Mark. Now that we know who you are, we'll call him Mr. Crazy Cat Queen.
Yeah, I mean, crime channel, finance channel. Is there a big difference? Just kidding.
Clay, no, seriously. Clay was like, Ellen, I can't talk about some things because I don't deal with finance. I was like, what doesn't deal with money and finance?
Well, see, to me, finance, being an academician here, finance deals with asset prices. It's not just dealing with money. It's dealing with asset prices, with the economy.
What's your channel name?
Moffat on Money.
On what?
Money, capital.
Money. What does not deal with money?
Well, I mean, they're just some things that
I think I
may
just made him
involve
blush.
money that are beyond my realm of expertise.
Somehow I doubt that.
Can you do a poll if needed to decide what book to read? Yes, that's what we're going to do. We're trying to collect suggested titles or ideas, and we'll ask for a few more on Tuesday night, and then
we'll do the poll.
We'll pick probably 5 that seem most doable and let everybody vote on those. And that'll be the first book.
Y'all got to ease me into this because books are tough.
I'm thinking Atlas Shrugged.
Oh, for fuck's sake. Seriously? CCQ is driving, going home from a bookstore. 3 bookstore?
You didn't invite us?
3. Okay. Crazy Cat Queen. Did you actually drive 3 hours to buy a book? or was it to meet some fabulous celebrity?
Oh, she's the one that.
Yeah.
Okay.
Duh.
They have a little girl crush thing going here. Mark, you and I are screwed.
I hope you guys are okay from the hurricanes. The hurricane. By the way, we got another one coming up next week.
No, we don't.
Yeah, we do.
No, we don't.
Yeah.
No, we don't.
It's going to be named Lee.
No, we don't.
Yep.
No, we don't.
Yep.
It's going to blow out once it hits, unless El Nino breaks up, it will blow out into the Eastern Atlantic.
It's not Katia. It's the next one. It's not named yet.
It's all right.
It's coming.
It's that one right there.
That's Katia.
No. Hadn't been named yet. Yeah.
Yes, that's Lee.
That's it.
Okay.
So.
Yay.
So we're just hoping El Nino doesn't break up and keeps pushing hurricanes to the east once they get up above Florida.
I'm glad we cracked you up, Melissa. I think I'm funny, but Clay says I'm.
Ellen is funny. She just got no jokes. She can't tell jokes, but she's naturally funny. She's naturally goofy and does funny things.
I'm not intentionally funny.
But if she had to make a living as a stand-up comedian,
I couldn't do it.
She'd starve to death. It wouldn't take long.
I couldn't sing either.
You can only go without food for what is it? A week?
Don't you think Sumlo would feed me? Anyone?
Not based off your joke telling abilities.
Hey, Moffat. You know what though? My hair smells good. Smell. He won't do it. Smell. Smell.
Oh yeah, really nice.
He's such a turd.
Smells like hair. Don't you love just sniffing hair and getting a nose full of hair? Wonderful feeling.
It's better than sniffing my scalp. You know?
All right, y'all.
I think we're done.
No, we're not drunk. We haven't done drugs.
Nope, we're just us.
Anybody have any other questions?
And
We are actually a little bit over time, but it has been enjoyable time.
Mark, it has been a pleasure to meet you. Thank you so much. Thank you, Sky Ricky. Thank you, Brentwood, and thank you, Sandy, for the super chats and stickers. We do appreciate it. Thank you so much.
Very much so. Y'all are extremely kind, and we are very appreciative of that. We enjoyed being with you tonight. Hope that it was profitable time for you, as well as enjoyable. And if you have any other questions, comments, topics you'd be interested in, let us know. You can leave a comment or email at moffatonmoney@gmail.com. I know, right? I need a scotch. Clear my mind. So thank you all. Oh, got a quick comment here. 1937, The Good Earth film got many Academy Award nominations. The book was by Pearl S. Buck.
Write that down.
Okay.
And I have some bad news. Remember all those pages you've been shredding for me of my past documents?
Mm-hmm.
Just jumped in the garbage bag that all the shreds were in.
I hope your night is a hell of a lot better than mine up ahead.
Because we got a big mess.
I've got a diamond paper shredder, and each bin is about that big, and we've got at least a couple of bins all over the floor now. So
Mr. CCQ is good. Awesome. Yeah, we have we got lots of paper back here to clean up.
Dumbass dogs. Anybody want a dog? We have a couple for sale cheap. Y'all get out of here.
We love you guys.
Go hug your family, friends, all those you love. And we thank you. Our time is up. Y'all have a great night.
We'll see you soon.
See you soon. Bye-bye.